Hi there! In this video I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet. It looks like multiple bangles, but it's actually only one bracelet and it goes together very easily. So to make this, the first thing you will need is memory wire. And memory wire, keep in mind, comes in several different diameters. It comes in a diameter for rings, for bracelets, even for different large and small bracelets and necklaces. So if you're going to be making a bracelet, of course you want the diameter that is hardened to the shape that would suit a bracelet. Otherwise, it's not going to work for your project. So I have a piece of memory wire here. It's about 2 yards long. I'm just going to not cut it and we'll see how long my bracelet ends up being. And what you can do to finish one end is just take a pair of round nose pliers and make a loop. Now this is a little bit harder than making a loop with regular wire because this has been hardened, but you can do it. You just bring it around and we'll use this loop later to add one of our charms. And then for beads, when you're making a memory wire piece, one thing to keep in mind is weight. Because the wire has been hardened to hold its shape doesn't mean that it will hold up to a lot of very heavy beads. So you wouldn't want to fill a memory wire bracelet with heavy glass or metal beads. So what I have here is an assortment. I have some metal beads. I'm doing kind of a rustic mixed metals naturals look today. I've got some copper beads from House of Gems, as well as these nice coiled gold wire beads. And then I have some wooden beads, which are ideal for memory wire bracelets because they're nice and light. And then a few of these green focals, and then these are my charms that I'm going to add to the end. And none of these are particularly heavy. So I'm going to set those aside. One of these bead design boards is really useful, especially for a memory wire bracelet, because really the design is all in how you lay out your beads. So I have these green beads that are going to be my pops of color. And the way I'm going to set up my bracelet is I'm going to just surround each of these beads with a pair of different beads and just make different patterns in between them. These wooden beads are also from House of Gems. So let's see, this one will get a couple wooden beads. And then I'll put wooden beads on the other side. I'm just kind of putting them around my green beads in pairs. So once I get these all set up, I'll come back and show you. Okay, so I've laid out all of my beads, and as you can see, I didn't do a real precise pattern. I just surrounded my main beads with pairs of beads, and then just filled in the spaces with my remaining beige seed beads and the brown wooden beads. So I'm not concerned really with a rigid pattern so much as filling in just an overall pleasing design. And then the next thing to do is just find the end of your wire that you made the loop in. So find the other end and pick a spot somewhere, not on your main bead, but like maybe right about here, and just start sliding beads onto your wire. And as you go, if you feel like you need to change the pattern, add or remove beads, go ahead and do so, but it's just as simple as sliding them on. One thing to keep in mind when using memory wire is that the tighter the coil, the shorter your beads have to be. Now these wooden ovals are fine, but if they get much longer than that, you can see the curve of the wire has trouble going through the straight hole in the bead. So you have to keep that in mind. For necklaces, it's probably no problem. For rings, that might be. Another thing to keep in mind when you're making a memory wire bracelet is that you need to have several wraps in order for it to hold properly on your wrist. I think at least 3, really 4 or 5 is better. And it also gives you the look of like 4 or 5 stacked bangles. So keep going, try it on. Continue to just add beads until you're all done. So here I've finished all my stringing, and I just wanted to show you this last little bit that I have on. And the way you get it down to meet the rest of it is just be gentle. and work it all down. You remember your old slinkies, how you could bend those out of shape? This is pretty much the same thing, and you can bend it out of shape. Now we have all of our beads strung on, and it's time to trim this. Make sure your beads are all nice and snug up against each other, and then trim it, leaving about 1/2 inch or so. Now there are special memory wire pliers, because you don't want to use your regular pliers. Memory wire will dent them. I just have a junky old pair of pliers that somebody already put a major ding in, so you can use those as well, just a pair that you don't care about. And then repeat the loop that we did on the first end with your round nose pliers. And there. Now, you might have noticed when I pushed it tight, there's a little bit of slack, but when I let go, that filled in, and that's good because that allows the bracelet to fit comfortably. Then the final step to add some fun and dangliness is to add a couple of charms to each of those loops. So you can just use a couple pairs of chain nose pliers and a jump ring to add your dangles, and of course make sure they're closed quite securely so you don't lose them. And there you have it, a memory wire bracelet with charm dangles at the ends. Memory wire is great for beginners because the stringing is very simple and the supplies are minimal.